When was the last time you felt intensively alive and free? Now, good. The reason why I'm asking you this question is because it's time to think a little bit about our experience of life. Experience. It's a very popular word. Did you notice? Every day we are bombarded with messages inviting us to test a new ice cream flavor, drive a new car, discover a new country. And it works, because actually we like to make experience. Perhaps it is because we want to have new sensation. Perhaps it is because we want to gain new skills. Perhaps it is just because we want to impress our friend with a picture of ourselves from the North Pole. Or perhaps it is because we want to spice up our life and to feel alive. Because indeed, our entire existence can be seen as a sequence of experience. Some are sad, some are happy, some are ordinary, some are extraordinary. Some are short-lived, some last a little longer. Some are chosen, some are imposed by circumstances. Some are consumed, some are created. But all in all, these form a unique and personal mélange that you call your experience of life. Indeed, experience is both the ingredients and the result. We need to make experiments to gain experience. We need to try new things, to innovate, to test, to gain experience. This movement is pretty well known. But we need as well to have experience to increase our sensibility to experiment. This second movement is a little bit less known and often neglected, but it is quite important. To illustrate this dynamic of experience, let's talk again about tea. When you are a French person and when you start drinking tea, it's nothing much than hot water, frankly speaking. But then you start different type of tea. And little by little, you become more connoisseur. And you are able to feel the different nuances of tea. You start to understand the meaning, the ritual, the symbols. Your experience of tea is becoming more refined and richer, and you will be also enticed to try new tea. But experience is a little bit like drinking tea. It's not about accumulating experiment for the sake of it. It has to do with the growth of our sensibility, of our curiosity, and in the end, with the renewal of our vitality all along our life. Of course, when you are young, vitality is not a big problem. Normally, you are naturally excited and looking for experience. But when you get older and you reach maturity, this can become a challenge. And I have a personal reason to be interested in that question, because my mother, she was a very energetic and talented woman. But when she reached maturity, around 40, something broke in her. And she lived the next 30 years of her life with a mélange of anxiety and melancholy. I was too young at that time to understand the causes and the remedies of her depression. But one good thing, though, is that I become very conscious at an early stage that we cannot take spontaneous happiness for granted, and that maybe we need to do something about it. And the thing that we can do is to become more discerning about the quality of our experience, whenever it's possible, whenever we can choose them. And choose the one that will not only make us happy, okay, but that will nourish our vitality all along our life. And I would like to share with you 3 dimensions of experience that I found are important when you choose your experience. These 3 dimensions are the body, the novelty, and interaction. Those insights come from my work at theater. 2 years ago, I wrote a play called 99 Women. It's a little bit a special play because it features 99 characters coming on stage to tell a short pieces of their life. And as the roles were very short, I gathered 99 non-professional actresses in Shanghai to stage it. So during 5 months, I had a sample of 99 women with me, and I could observe what theater was doing to them and how they use this personal and collective journey for their own benefit. The first point is the body. An experience must be felt in the physical body. When you are on stage, and theater teach you this lesson almost brutally. When you are on stage, everything is seen. Everything becomes significant. You cannot be elsewhere. You cannot live here and think in another world. You have to be present. At the beginning of the project, of the 99 project, many women felt a lot of difficulty, had a lot of difficulty feeling incarnated. Their mind wanted to be on stage, but when they were actually on stage, naked, alive, and vulnerable, they wanted to disappear. I remember one of the girls, at the beginning, she had a very low voice. So during the rehearsal, I asked her to speak louder and to come to me, speaking louder and louder. She tried 3 times, 4 times, and finally she succeeded. And I say, "This is your voice." And we look at each other, and it was a very moving moment because we were sure, both of us, that it was the first time that she was actually hearing her own voice. Isn't it crazy that we lost the connection to ourselves to the point that we are not able to hear our own voice? Would you like to hear your own voice? Maybe we can try. You will say, slowly, we start very low, and you will say, "My name is," and then you say your name. So I don't know your name, okay? We start like this, very low, and you follow me, and we go louder and louder. Mon nom est Geneviève. Go slowly. My name is... 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 Okay. All right. Experiment with your body. Second point, novelty. What do I mean by novelty? I mean try on new roles. And that's pretty much the job of an actor. When you are acting, you dig into your past feeling, emotion, sensation to empower your character and let it emerge from you. But the very interesting part of acting is when you are pretending to be someone else, to talk like someone else, to walk like someone else, then you incorporate that experience. This unknown part of yourself that is revealed by your character becomes yours. When I did the casting of the 99 Women, many women wanted me to choose a character that will resemble them. They thought it would be easier to play someone close to them. And I refused absolutely. Because I knew that they will be amazed to be for 1 minute someone else. And that perhaps they will discover that to be yourself all the time is a self-inflicted limitation. One of the actresses later did an experience and she reported it very well. During an exercise, I asked her to embody a dying empress, poisoned by a rival before suffering the same fate. But this girl was American, and in America you have no royalty. So she could only guess how a queen will talk and walk and sound. But she tried. And after she tried, she could hear from the public murmurs of approval. And then she thought, I want to walk like that all the time. I want to talk like that all the time. And maybe I already do. So this is an invitation for you. Try on new skin, try on new roles. Don't repeat over and again the same experience. Don't repeat yourself. Third insight, interaction. Of course, experience is a personal empowerment. But by being too much focused on ourselves, we forgot that the world is here, that the world is not a simple background for our sole usage. It's not a decor. By the way, I need to do something. Thank you for being the background of my life. So the world is here already. No context, no people, no experience. And the world, when it reacts, will indicate, will open new route for further experience. This happened to me with the play 99 Women. I did it in Shanghai, but I did it also in India. And in India, the 99 ladies in India used the play as a feminist manifesto. They wanted, through the play and through the performance, to express the diversity of womanhood in a country where the image of women and the stereotypes of women are a little bit limited. But in Shanghai, the public reacted very differently. The play resonates with the need of self-expression and the need of standing out. So after the show, people came to me, and first men came to me saying, are you sexist? What is this 99 women? Why don't you do 99 men? We also have something to say. And then some other people came to me and said, why do you invent stories? There are so many beautiful real stories. Why don't you base your play on real people's stories? So I listened to this reaction, and this led me this year to create a new project called the 99 Project, involving men, and based on collaborative writing inspired by real-life stories. So by sharing experience with the public, you let it resonate with the public. And if you listen to the echoes, if you listen to the collective intelligence that comes from the interaction, it will lead you to newer and richer experience. So theater has been a great source of vitality for me over the past years. But at the same time, before that, I was doing something else. I was doing sports, I was working in my company, I'm still working in my company. So, and perhaps later I will do something else. Probably I will do farming, that's my plan. So different life stage, different experience. Today, probably many of you find that travel is very exciting as a way to gain a lot of experience. But perhaps later it will be to create a startup or to become an entrepreneur or to start doing more sports or a little bit of gardening. The question is not how extraordinary or how big your experiences are, it's the way you use them. And I would like to conclude with a souvenir of my grandmother. Her name was Alice, and she was living in a small village in the Alps, really far. And she was a farmer. Can you imagine that? She never saw the sea. She's been to the movie one time in her life. But at the same time, she had a very lively existence. And the reason why is because she has the three ingredients. First, she has an orchard, a beautiful garden. And for her, this garden was a way to be connected with the force of nature, the forces of life, and her own presence to the world. She lived in a small village, but in this village there were many visitors and travelers and strangers, and she invited them at home to share stories. And she was a terrific storyteller as well, and she knew a lot about human nature, about other existence. And finally, her village was pretty isolated, but she read one newspaper per week, but a national newspaper. And she was very well informed of the global issue and the global problem of the world. So what is important? The life of my grandmother illustrates what I wanted to tell you. It's like, find experiences that enable to feel your presence, to explore the unknown part of yourself, and to connect with the world. Thank you very much.